Boston, a city where history and accomplishment meet at the iconic marathon finish line. Nearly 30,000 runners took to the legendary 26.2 miles from Hopkinton to Boylston Street. Course records were broken, legends rose. Sharon Lokedi shattered the women's course record. Korir surged to victory after falling on the course. But the Boston Marathon weekend is more than just a race weekend. It's about community. The city was abuzz with over 150 activations from popular running brands like On, Adidas, Tracksmith, Asics, Puma, New Balance, Clif Bar, Shokz, and so much more. Join me and get an inside look at the Boston Marathon weekend.
I just picked up my media credentials. I'm really excited to be at the finish line this year, and I am heading out to lunch.
Lori and I are dropping into the Thinking Cup for a quick lunch before our adventure to the Seaport for a wellness retreat. We are here at Remdey Place's new Boston Seaport location to experience some of their incredible wellness treatments, including an AI massage, a red light therapy bed treatment, and the new foam bathing suite.
Really excited to go inside and try this AI massage along with the foam sauna. Follow me in, let's go.
My name is Jonathan Leary, and welcome to Remdey Place. This is our Seaport Boston location.
We're going on a tour. Wow, check out these hyperbaric chambers. Here I am in that foam bathing suite in a giant bubble bath. Next up, red light therapy bed, infrared sauna, regular sauna, contrast therapy room, which looks really fun with a group, and the AI massage. Heading to Boylston Street for our first running brand activation.
So we are here at the Puma High Point Pop Up in Boston for a marathon weekend, and we're going to go inside and check out what they have going on.
Here at the Puma store, the energy is high. Kicking off their Go Wild campaign, celebrating Runner's High, the rush of endorphins that keep us chasing greatness, and launching their Project 3 program, offering select runners at the 2025 Boston and London marathons the chance to experience race weekend like an elite athlete. They are also launching their new race shoe, the Fast R3, being tested here on the treadmill today by athletes trying out the new shoes. The Go Wild campaign is super cool. It's also not just running, but basketball, soccer, and more, about unleashing your greatness through sport. And for Project 3, they select 100 runners per race with a sub-3:10 marathon PR. Athletes can earn money, prizes, gear, coaching, and more. Puma had tons of activations throughout the weekend, from panels, shakeout runs, parties. Now, let's dial into the Fast R3.
Guys, we're here today with Connor Cashin, and he's going to dial us into the new Puma
Fast R Nitro Elite 3.
The latest, hottest new Puma shoe that you can only get here this weekend.
Cool. So Fast R3. This is our third update to our Fast R franchise. So we have two racing franchises at Puma. One is called DV8 Elite, and then we have Fast R Elite. So in the third version here, the main goal was to take the same propulsion package that we had in the two. The two had the extended plate, it had the split midsole like this that you can see here,
right.
But it was a little bit heavy, so we wanted to try to keep the same propulsion but see if we could make it a lot lighter, and we did that.
What does it weigh?
So it weighs 170 grams in a men's sample size, which is US 9, and the previous Fast R weighed around 260 grams.
And talk to me about this upper, because I mean, it's basically just like a tissue. The upper is so light.
Yeah, so this is absolutely one of the lightest uppers we've ever had. It's called Ultra Weave.
Okay.
So Ultra Weave actually is a woven material that's really, really strong and really breathable and really light. So the upper itself actually weighs less than 10 grams.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so what is this extra thing on the outsole?
Yeah, so this is actually the carbon fiber plate extends beyond the toe,
Okay.
and then the outsole just wraps around it for protection. But that extended carbon plate is what gives you that extra propulsion.
I'm here at the Boston Marathon Athletes-Dakota Conference and heading over to the EXPO. You can see the finish line is right behind me, and the streets are pretty crowded.
Let's go inside the expo. Here we go. Schneider Electric, Shokz, and Clif Bar, all new partners of Boston Marathon this year. Clif Bar also has an entire pop-up with shakeout runs and panels on Huntington Street. Of course, I walked over to check it out.
Guys, I am just here at the expo, walking around, checking out some of the fun activations that are happening, and I'm heading over to On and do some other things, maybe copying Tracksmith, and yeah, it's kind of crazy here already. I'm just here at the Westin. They are setting up the marathon zone with Abbott and Hyperice, and we are going to walk over to the OOFOS area. Just dropped by the OOFOS activation at the Westin on the second floor, and if you've been walking around all weekend, you heard this place to be because they have the most awesome shoes that have amazing foam that you're like, ooh, and I'll box them, put them on, and walk back to my Airbnb.
Heading to Porto for the Tracksmith panel.
Do you think the first time that you heard about the list itself?
I didn't know there was a list.
I guess that's my point. Like, so the first time you heard about it, how did you start to form some impressions, having broken 3 hours yourself? What did you think that there would be a list of women who had done it in your wake?
I'm glad to know there was a list, because then you know who your competition was and what you had to do.
Erica, what about you? What's the first time you heard about the list, and share some impressions, please?
The first time I heard about the list was probably right before my marathon debut in Boston back in 2023, because Breaking 3 had just come out, so obviously it's about Breaking 3 and highlighting Maryland and other women from the list. But I was getting ready for my first marathon ever, so like I had this like vague awareness of it, but I wasn't really thinking about it because like I had, you know, my job to do. And then when I finished Boston and, you know, ran the time that I ran, I was, you know, exhausted and freezing and wet because it was 40 and raining, because that's typical Boston weather. So I was already back up in the hotel, like in my bed, and then my phone started ringing and I started getting all these texts, and I started getting emails and calls from my agent from like the New York Times and the Washington Post about, you just shot to the top of the list, how do you feel? And I'm like, I just did what? So like they had to explain it to me. They were like, no, like, you know, that list from like the documentary and like US born Black women, they were like, you just did that, like your time is the fastest time and now you're at the top, like what does this mean to you? And it was just like a lot to take in the moment, but I think it's something that we hope, kind of like Erica alluded to earlier, we hope there's so many names they don't fit on a sweatshirt. We hope it's a list you don't need 10 years from now, because there's so many people that are doing it, because it's not that Black women aren't that fast. There's just not a lot of Black women in distance running, but you've seen this massive shift and this massive change, and not just interest, but like acceptance into this space. And it's just become more fun and just like, it's changing, and it's changing in such a good way. It's nice that it's here for now, but it's something that hopefully is temporary.
In 1975, that mid-70s training in Baltimore, what was it like? What was your training like before super shoes, before all the nutrition, before before sports bras? How did you train without social media?
I started with the Baltimore Roadrunners, and I'll always give them credit for letting me run with them. And I remember one guy, the old white fella, said, "Merle, we're going out for a nice, easy 20 miles tomorrow. We want you to come." And I said, "Okay." There was no track team for girls in my high school. It's all girls school, no track team. No track team at Morgan State University. It was Morgan State College at that time. Then the Baltimore Roadrunners came along and I started running with them. But everything, folks, was long, slow distance. Any of the running magazines, long, slow distance. And I could do long, slow distance all day long. What I could not do was short, fast speed. I didn't have it, really. But that's how it started out. And all you're doing is listen to people say, do this, do that. But it was nothing scientific. So as a physical education major and a physical education teacher for 31 years, you start learning to look other places. You start learning to go to clinics in track and field and distance, so you know what you needed to do and what the kids needed to do. But young kids, don't start them out with a whole lot of long distance, because you wanted them to be there when you get in high school. I gotta say this, so many people think, well, this kid is real good in the 6 and 7-year-old age group, or they're real good and they can beat everybody. But if you keep putting them a whole lot of races, by the time they get to middle school, high school, they telling you they don't want to do it anymore, and you burnt them out. I've seen it happen. Mom and dad, just because your little daughter can do all this great stuff and they're little, don't overdo it. Then they're not going to be around when they get older. So as soon as they can tell you, I don't want to do it, they're going to say, I don't want to do it. So you're also, with girls, this sounds weird, they might be really fast in middle school, but then they go boom, bam, boom.
Let's head over to Newbury Street for an action-packed day of running brand activations, kicking things off with Adidas. Just got to the Adidas Boston 13 product walkthrough. It's a pretty epic space here at the Adidas Newbury Street location, and I am going to take you around. Kicking things off with a deep dive into the all-new Adidas Adizero Boston 13, a classic shoe that's been helping runners train fast since 1980. In this new version, Adidas stays true to what runners love, but added some key upgrades for a softer, faster ride. 13.8% more Light Strike Pro underfoot for extra comfort and energy, a more padded tongue collar for a snugger fit, and Energy Rods 2.0 for a signature snap on speed days and tempo runs. There's also a new light traction outsole, making the shoe lighter without sacrificing grip. This new version is available May 5th. It's a new colorway inspired by their 90s marathon gear. We also had an amazing breakfast from Genevieve. Next, I got my own pair of Adizero Boston 13s and unboxed them on site so I could leave the box in Boston. Then hung out for a game show with Michael Coe, aka Kafuzi.
And hopefully I can do it again someday, but we'll see.
All right. Brian Greer here, also first time in Boston. Not hopefully qualifying first time runner, but definitely here to enjoy the experience and really work it.
Good time, and there are temporary tattoos now back by where the donuts are. So if you want a temporary tat for your race picks tomorrow.
And of course I stayed for donuts with Herm, the popular running influencer that eats donuts on his run. Next up, On. There were lines around the block to get a customized kit. And check out the Lightspray shoe making machine. I just walked into the On Running Boston activation, checking out the Lightspray, the space, and all of the fun things they have going on here. After On, I walked over to the Cliff Bar activation on Huntington Street to refuel my chews and meet everyone over there. Next up, Tracksmith is the pioneer of the Boston Marathon Weekend pop-up concept. Heading over for a shakeout run and breakfast with the Tracksmith crew. Say it again.
So much, and I love talking about running even more. I love running so much, I just hang out at all these events.
And?
I want to marry running.
Okay. Hundreds of athletes line up to shop and join the Tracksmith community for shakeout runs. Let's talk to Matt Taylor. Tracksmith is the pioneer of the pop-up in Boston. what was the running landscape like when you started the pop-up, and did you have a retail store at the time?
Yeah, it's been, I think this is our 10th year now, Boston Marathon weekend. We started the brand 2014, April of 2015. Actually, we were in the space we're in today, which is crazy. We went to the expo and, looked at the options there. I want to say it was roughly $10,000 for a 10 by 10. Wow. Happened to be walking up and down Newbury Street, a beautiful day like this, and saw the for lease sign. So we called the landlord and said, hey, could we have it for like 5 days? And no one back then was like, what is that? That didn't exist, And so it took a while. We didn't think it was going to happen. But then, obviously when you offer some money, they're like, okay, yeah, well, let's talk. So we ended up getting the space downstairs, and for about the same amount of money, but it was a much better way for us to present our brand, which was relatively new at the time. It wasn't even a year old. And so that first year, it was really an enlightening moment for us. And it's something that we've obviously now done not only in Boston, but in a lot of cities. Marathon. Exactly. Yeah. And at that time, nobody was on Newbury Street. Every brand was in the expo, right? No one had done these pop-ups at all. But we left that weekend being like, this is really special and distinct. And so we, next year doubled down and we just kept going. And, every year you would see folks from the other brands come through, and we probably had a 4 or 5 year run before anyone else started popping up on Newbury. And now you walk up and down and it's every brand. Every brand is here. Yeah.
When you were first here, was there a lot of street traffic? Like, was it really great for retail at the time? And do you feel like you brought that here?
And certainly marathon weekend, yes. Newbury is the classic, retail destination. It is quite long. It's, 10, 12 blocks between here. This end of the street is much more sort of active brands, whereas the other end is like high-end luxury brands, and then the middle is right by the Common. The middle is a little bit more transient and a lot of different things, but so this street has always been the classic retail street. There's definitely foot traffic, but this weekend it's like from 10 years ago to now, it's just crazy. They really should shut the street down the entire weekend.
I really thought it was closed.
Yeah, they closed it for, obviously yesterday we had the races, the 5Ks and the mile, so they closed it down for a bit, but it's really becoming like a festival atmosphere here.
Dropped into the Run-Up Pop-Up on Newbury Street, where they were hosting panels, run shakeouts, parties, coffee, sign making, and more. Runna is an AI-powered run coaching app that delivers tailored training plans for runners, just acquired by Strava this weekend. Also got to try some Best Day Brewing non-alcoholic beer. Walked back to our neighborhood near Quincy Market, dropped in for some sushi, and on my way home, I discovered this Barilla Pop Up. What are you guys doing here today?
Giving away free pasta. Marathon. Yeah.
And it's protein pasta?
Yes. 17 grams of protein.
Per serving?
Yes.
That's pretty awesome.
I know. And 10 grams of fiber.
I am walking over towards the finish line. Good morning. I am here at the Boston Marathon finish line, gearing up to interview some of the amazing crews. How was your race today?
The race today was amazing. I'm happy. I think the race was wonderful this year.
I really felt pretty good through most of it. My feet were a little bit hurting. I think, what's really hard about this course is it's that downhill start.
The VO2 max is what sets me apart, I think, a little bit, because I really thrive in 5Ks, 10Ks, and they help me in the marathon. So how do you feel?
Oh, it's feeling pretty good. It's a beautiful weather. The slight headwind, so not the fastest, but overall pretty good morning.
I feel like I'm in shock. It was a huge blessing. It's an amazing field today, and so I did not expect this, and really grateful.
First of all, I love your kit. That is so awesome.
I actually have to thank my high school track coach, Coach Tony Holiday.
How was your day? How was the race?
My day, I woke up very early, I'm not a morning person.
It was definitely a challenging day. I had some pretty big goals and went for it, so you can never be mad about that. Legs were a little bit tired early on, but I said, hey, you know what, I'm going to fight through and see what I can get. So proud of the effort.
How are you feeling right now?
I don't know, body's hanging on here. I started having some cramping at like 12 miles, which is weird. I've never experienced that. So right quad, left calf, I don't know, kind of kept moving up the body. But
And how was the race?
Good, it was good. This is my Boston PR now, so
That's
after
huge.
time on the course. Unfortunately, maybe my worst place, but that's because American distance running is so strong right now, and just women's running is so strong.
So how was the race today? I mean, you did amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, I was really happy with how I ran. You know, just I'm still learning. The marathon, I feel like I ran a really good 25, even 30K. Just couldn't match that move up the third hill with the leaders, and you know, I came back a bit as well, which I was proud of. I feel.
How are you feeling right now?
Really happy with my results. It's a PR for me. I haven't PR'd on my first marathon back in 2021, and it's a huge relief to PR today after so many years, and feel good doing it.
How are you feeling?
Oh, I'm feeling really tired. It was really hard, but really fun. Just there's nothing like this race. It was amazing. So thankful to be a part of it.
How was the race for you today?
It was good, and I feel good. I'm really happy to be podium. And then the last 3K for me, it was difficult to go faster than the lead group. And it was an amazing race.
Yeah, it was great. It was a tough one as always, but the weather was quite good. A little bit of headwind, so that makes it tough. And the start was in the downhill. It's always a little bit difficult, so I started a bit.
Take more energy on the downhill than the uphill. Which one's more challenging?
For me, the downhill.
Congratulations on your win and your course record this weekend.
Thank you.
You're one of the first pro athletes to be running in Under Armour with their new shoes that they're bringing into the running scene. What running shoes by Under Armour did you run in, and how were they?
I've been lucky enough to win 2 major marathons in Under Armour shoes. So the first time I ran New York, I won in Velocity Elite 2, and yesterday I wore Velocity Elite 3.
How is your strategy and training leading into this different from maybe past races?
So my training, the difference was I was writing my training before this, so probably didn't do as good of a job as my coach now, but I've been working with David Roach since November, and I do love his approach. He's more of a trail racer himself.
Congratulations on your epic win. Talk to you about what happened out there on the course and how you mentally wrapped your head around it, got up, and kept running. So
for me, I was clipped from behind at the start line, so something came up in my mind. Should I give up or should I get up and run? But I think the good one came in right. I think I made the right choice by getting up and continue running.
had a challenging day,
A little bit, yeah.
but you are here.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Back at the hotel, that's always a good
So
thing.
what happened out there today?
Yeah, honestly, I just kind of wanted to take a swing because it's Boston and why not? So went through pretty aggressively for the half and then knew it was going to be a positive split kind of day just based on how I was feeling.
What's up, guys?
How was your race?
The race was very difficult, and I'm very happy to have finished. It was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be, but
What made it harder? The weather? Was it the weather?
Yeah, the temperature was really nice, but the sun was just beating down, and I'm very emotional.
I am at the media center at the hotel. Walked here this morning. All the athletes were getting on the buses, the famous yellow school buses. Here at the Pro Runner post-race press conference.
Jonathan from Let'sRun.com. Question for John. Congratulations on your win. I was wondering, can you walk me through your winning move? You moved just before 20 miles. Why did you decide to go there? And what were you feeling when you made the move?
For me, that was the plan. We planned that with my coach and my brother and everyone in my crew, and we say At 20 miles, there is where I will try and make the move, and there is where I tried, and it worked well, and it was good, and I'm happy.
Were you surprised you were able to get such a big gap so quickly?
That was the plan. If I make the move, I make a big gap. So if anyone try to close, he will not manage to close. But it was good.
What did you learn from last year, and how much did that help you with today's victory?
The only difference this year is where she passed me last year is where I passed her today. I was like, I'm just not gonna get it, like let her take it today from me. So I just wanted to fight as hard as I could. But I really love competing with her. She's a really good competitor, and I'm glad that we had to tough it out together.
That's a wrap. See you next year.